What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and this is the Biker Channel, B1. Today, we are here, or you are here, on the BK Bar, episode 2. And so those of you guys that are new to the BK Bar or haven't heard me running my mouth about it for the last month or two, this is just going to be like an interview series, casual conversations. We'll probably be keeping an eye on the chat, but more than likely not responding to them. So just so you guys know, this is going to be just a little informal, kind of loosely put together interview between me, and tonight's guest is actually Alex from the Singletrack Sampler. What's going on, dude?
How you doing, man?
That's it, man. How you doing?
Yo, dude, I think so. I was just thinking. Sorry, as I was saying that, I was thinking about. I think our audio is out of sync. I'm seeing your mouth move, and I'm hearing words fly, but not at the same time. So, yeah, if I miss something to say, I think
to YouTube and not to the Hangouts.
Am I what?
Possibly listening to YouTube and not the Hangouts.
No, I'm just in the Hangouts. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I hear everything you say, so we're good.
Just the video is off.
Yeah, it is, but slightly. It just caught up, so like that time was pretty good.
All right, perfect. See, it's not a biker live. It starts out being a shit show, so I'm glad that we started that out fucking right on point. Very good.
So maybe we can start it out a little bit better, man. Cheers.
Cheers, brother. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I just got comfortable. Thanks a lot for that. Dude, I need burn calories. Look at me. So
what are you drinking?
That was actually the first question I was going to ask you. What kind of beer you got twisted over there?
I've got an interesting one, but as I was telling Robert before we got started, it's not cold, and well, I don't know. That's okay. Apparently, you can taste it better, right? All the ingredients in it, but I will tell you, it's freaking delicious. It's called the Great Return. This is from some people from the channel. Actually, it's a West Coast style IPA out of Richmond, Virginia.
Nice. Are you always a person? Or?
Nah, not always. My beer drinking is like totally dependent on my mood. If I had like a big delicious meal and I am gonna have a beer after that, I might go for like a stout or porter. Feel like a little bit of dessert. But we rode earlier and we got back and we've been working on the van, so a refreshing IPA is probably the choice for after working hard, probably most of the time.
I'm totally with you on that as well. I think for me, the beer always goes with what you're doing, or maybe the mood or something like that. Like IPAs are probably like my go-to. Like I just want to drink beer and enjoy it. But
yeah,
everyone who follows my channel knows I drink a lot of Coors Light. That's like my doing anything around the house kind of beer. I like the stout. Usually only in the winter though. Like for some reason that beer, like
cold weather is really good for stouts. I give you that. Yeah, I like that. That's true. And I think I would rock the Coors Light if I was like rafting, if I was on a river, or tubing on a river or something. Like if I'm going to eat Mexican food, I'm drinking a Negro Modelo. You just gotta change it up. There's a beer for every occasion.
Do they do micheladas at the Mexican restaurants where you live?
Oh yeah.
That's what I get every time I go to a fucking Mexican restaurant, for sure.
They're pretty good. I actually had one that was real messed up. I didn't like it. I don't know what you can do to fuck that up, but like it wasn't good.
Yeah, there's this place. So I actually had never really liked tomatoes really generally at all, unless it was like pizza sauce or spaghetti or something like that. And when I started seeing my baby, she was drinking those cheladas that were from Bud Light. And the first time I had it, we were skiing, and I was like, oh, I hate freaking tomato juice, but I'll taste it. And then the next time we were skiing, I was like, well, aren't we going to have that one again? And then it kind of grew from there. And once I had a real michelada from a Mexican restaurant, it like totally changed my perception. And so recently, if you watch my channel, C-Lock is one of the guys on there. I took him to this Mexican restaurant, and he's only had the yellow cheladas out of the can. And I was like, I'm telling you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, nah.
I'm telling you right now, dude, this is going to fuck you up forever, because now that chelada will taste like shit. So.
Yeah, no, that stuff's terrible. I can't ever get behind a I cannot get behind Bloody Marys. That's like I love tomatoes. I can't do a Bloody Mary. I just can't. I hate it.
So after I went through that progression with the Chelada, I actually stepped into the Bloody Mary market. And I think with me, like almost anything, like my channel, all my life, I always like go in 100%. And I was like Bloody Mary all the time. And then now I find myself like backing off from them again. There's like one or two places.
Well, dude, there's such a big spectrum of like, there are so many different ways to make a Bloody Mary, and everyone's got their own spin on it. So there's like some really, really, really bad ones, and then there's like unreal good ones. I've never had the unreal good ones. I've definitely had like pretty damn bad. So I think that doesn't help.
Sometime you're going to come out here to the West Coast in your van travels, and in that spot, if you make it up to Sacramento, either we could go to breakfast together, and I could take you to my place that I have my favorite one at. Or maybe
all the best ones are at the breakfast joints. We all know that, though.
Yeah, there's definitely this place, and they have like they have like kind of like the stuff that's in the Bloody Mary, like little cut up stuff, but it's like really, really fine. So it's kind of like when you take a sip, you got this like little things that you're nibbling on. I don't know.
Yeah, so the only time I've actually had a Bloody Mary is when I was hungry, and I just wanted a lot of olives. So I'd be like, let me get a Bloody Mary with a lot of olives.
The olives with the
I just got it for the olives. Yeah. I was like, I'm too cheap to get something to eat at this moment. So I'm just going to get a twofer, like add to the buzz and get like some food in my stomach. I'm like, if you just substitute ice for olives, I'll be happy.
Yeah. When I used to live in Germany, if you ask for ice in your drink there, they'll give you like 2 ice cubes. And then when I say ice cubes, I'm not talking about like what you get out of your freezer, like those little squares, that come out of the machine. If they put 3 of them in there, they're like, that's good, that's ice. But I would have to order it, and I'd tell them like half ice, half soda, and they just look at me like I was a freaking idiot because they drink most of their stuff warm, their beer, their soda, all that.
Right.
So
anyways. I'm just doing it the German way.
Right?
Hot beer. Not hot beer. It's like room temp beer. It was in a cooler.
So were you always a beer guy like back in college, or were you a maybe mixed drink person at one point, or?
I think I had, the pretty standard progression. I didn't drink until like way later. I didn't even like really, I didn't party in like high school and stuff. So I didn't start drinking until college because I was so serious into soccer. And when I did start drinking, it was the standard. I was in college, we were drinking Natty Light, and I was in Dallas, Texas, so it was I think Keystone. Yeah, definitely Keystone. Drank a lot of Keystone, and there's beer bongs and stuff. So you're not appreciating that beer. There was no at that time. I think it was like Sam Adams and whatever. The craft beer scene hadn't quite exploded. This was like 2006, and so I think the first. Actually, I know for a fact, I know what the first craft beer I had was, but so I really didn't have an appreciation for anything beforehand. It was like, whatever I can get my hands on. I'm a broke ass college student.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We can all relate to that. But when I did, the first beer I had was the Dead Guy Ale. Have you ever had that? Rogue?
I think I have some in my fridge right now.
It's a really good ale. I think it's a great launching point. And I think it was like Thanksgiving dinner or something that I had that. And I drank that beer and I was like, whoa, this is way better than Keystone.
Yeah.
So, so like after that, I, liquor, I wasn't yet into like whiskey and bourbon, which I'm now pretty big into, but I don't drink mixed drinks anymore. I don't drink light beer. I drink for the taste. So like when I drink a bourbon or a whiskey, I drink it neat. I don't want to mix it with sugar shit. I don't want to get hungover. Like I'm just trying to taste it.
Yeah, I don't. So, I'm not much of a liquor person at all, but I totally understand where you're coming from there. I had a similar progression through getting into good beers. Let's just call it that. But yeah. I think I watched this documentary a long time ago about the band Tool.
Yeah.
So the lead singer from that band started a winery. And
really?
the documentary was about him starting this winery and not just doing it like a famous dude put his name on something and go out and do it like oh, I got a winery. He was like
He
literally
like bought a vineyard and went deep.
Yeah, like out there with a shovel and fucking learning shit, right? And
That's
in
cool.
the documentary, though, he says, it doesn't matter what your palate is, dude. If your palate is $5 wine from Walmart, or if it's a $300 bottle, like it's your palate. It's there for you to enjoy.
Right.
That's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've never gotten into like the hoity-toity, like looking at the price of what.
Yeah,
I've never been able to afford anything expensive. I'm always when it comes to like. Actually, I'll tell you what. It's funny. It's funny because I think that you could probably trace, and I bet you it's the same for a lot of people, dude. Like, you still there? You frozen on my screen? No, you're there.
you froze on me.
I'm pretty sure my path down beer and like enjoying alcohol all can be traced to like it's all like based on economics. It's like what can you afford? So like naturally in college you're getting the dirt cheapest stuff you can. Like you're drinking Keystone beer. I drank this vodka once called Pop Off on a spring break. It was in a plastic bottle. It was Russian. It was the worst. All we had was milk. My buddy and I were like in Miami and we chased it. It was terrible. But like, so
vodka with milk.
Yo, it was a bad idea. Don't ever do that. Especially with a vodka that's called Pop Off.
Right.
And it's in a plastic. That's like the first tip that is terrible. But so I didn't even get into beer until later because beer is expensive. If you're looking for like bang for your buck, it's never beer. It's always liquor. So I actually got into like whiskey and like stuff like Buffalo Trace and Rocky and Knob Creek and stuff like that. Where you can get really good tasting stuff, and it's like you can get Buffalo Trace, which in my opinion is some of the best whiskey you can get out there for $20. And a six pack of is going to be like 11 or 12. Right. So it's like when I'm on the road and I'm just skimming by, like you got to think about those things.
So you mentioned earlier when you were in college and you said you were in Dallas. I thought you graduated from ASU.
I did. Yeah. But first year I went to SMU. So when I went to college, it was all about soccer. My whole life was about soccer up until the age of 22. And
was something that stopped you, or?
No, not really. To be honest, it was like a culmination of a lot of things. So I started getting injuries in college. I had surgery on both my knees, and both of those held me back, and I wasn't starting. I wasn't where I wanted to be on the team that I was at USF. And then some family stuff, and like needing to go get a job and make money. It's like all these things combined. It was like, this is time. It's time for me to step down from this, even though I love it, and, get out there, get a job, make money and start moving forward with that. So, yeah.
So Moonlight Leatherfoot on my channel, his brother is actually in that similar position right now, where he's played semi-pro, and I think he played in Europe for a little bit, but he's running into some injuries too. And I mean, sports in general, I mean, and not even, I mean, the sport that we do still today, I mean, it's injuries are part of the game, and it can make or break you on whether or not you do that sport anymore. That's for sure.
I dislocated my pinky today.
Oh no! Yeah, I saw a little something going on there. I wasn't sure exactly what that was all about.
Yeah, you should have seen it earlier. It was so jacked up. My pinky was just in like 3 different very sharp directions, and my knuckle. This knuckle was pointing out the bottom here. It was gnarly. Yeah.
Good. So you're going through college, and you're playing soccer. For whatever reason, that direction changes, right? So where do you go from? What was your major in college?
So I've always been good at math and science. So I thought when graduating high school, it was like the obvious thing is engineering, So went to college, started in engineering, and quickly realized that it wasn't. I didn't want to go down that path. Like I also enjoy people, so I don't want to be. Okay, actually, to be completely honest, I took a chem class and I just totally sucked at it. I think somewhere in my high school career, someone failed at teaching chemistry, and like I didn't get the background I needed. So I hit this chem class in college and it was like, this is really bad. I got the worst score I've ever gotten on a test, like straight up just F, like not even close. And they handed the test back on parents' weekend. So my mother came to class with me, and then the teacher was like, we're going to hand back the tests. And I had to go get my test, and I had to walk back, and my mother was sitting there, and she was just like, so anyway, I don't know. That I feel like that was a pivotal point. And it was soon after that I learned, I don't know, I just started paying attention to finance and to the stock market. And I was like, oh, I can take my math prowess and apply it to this. And like, I was really interested in this, and I started learning all about economics and finance. So I graduated with finance, with a degree in finance, economics, and mathematics.
Okay. Yeah. So I had a calculus teacher in college. I originally started going to school to do like engineering, like sound engineering, to like recording artists and stuff like that. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, make a long story short, I changed directions. So I started doing like computer science because I knew I liked computer. Okay. And so there's a lot of programming and math in that. And I took this calculus class, dude, and my calculus teacher was like literally like his first week from China was teaching our class. And I did not understand anything that he was saying. Like every sixth word I would get. And it would be like everybody in the class just would look at each other, not know what was going on. And then we'd all go straight from his class to the math lab and spend like hours there. And his way of like doing that class was like, I want to make sure everybody's failing, and whoever's failing the least will pass.
One of those teachers, huh?
He gave us a take-home test. He's like, oh, you guys get this take-home test. It was 4 questions. I was in the math lab with other math teachers for 12 hours trying to finish these 4 questions. And
when a teacher gives you a take-home test, you should never be stoked. They are always sandbagging you, dude. That's like 101 undergrad. You know it. Everyone's like, oh my God, the final. Because you read it on the syllabus at the beginning of the semester. You're like, oh my God, the final. It's a take-home test. And you're like, yo, this is going to be so easy. No. They're going to give you the worst, the hardest. You're never going to answer these questions completely. And you just like pray that you get a little bit of it. Partial credit is your best friend.
That class, every class I ever had taken, I had an A in. And that one was my first C. And it was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So
if I ran into a professor like that, you give them like the three class rule. I decided that I could go about classes one of 2 ways. You could attend each class and like get your time in there, or you could just go read the book, because like the book tells you everything you need to know. So if I went to a class 3 times and the professor didn't like, it wasn't a good class, if he was just like putting slides up on the board, I'd be like, all right, I'm not coming to this class ever again. And I would just show up for the tests and like for the finals, and I would go spend my time in the library and read the book. You can just be more efficient that way,
Yeah, for me, I'm a person that learns like from that story process. Yeah. So for me, I never missed a class. And I could do that, and like, let's just say math is not a good example, but like a lot of other classes where it was like the reading I wouldn't do. As long as I was in class, I could key into what they wanted to know. And I could kind of like speed read, like glance through pages. Like it'd be 100 pages. I'd look at it in like 5 minutes. And for me, like I just had to be there. I tried to take an online class once where it was like all on my own motivation. And I fucking tanked it. Like within 2 weeks, I was like, no, I got to drop this. This doesn't work for like me at all.
Yeah.
So
everyone's a little different. Yeah.
So I heard from somebody that you were a guide at a bike park kind of thing for a while.
Yeah, I've done. I did a couple different guiding gigs actually in mountain biking. I made like the first foray into the outdoor industry when I worked at REI. And that's what I did. So I worked in finance right after school, obviously, with my degree. And it didn't take me very long to realize I didn't want to do that. So I like moved out of Florida into Atlanta, where the mountains were only like 2 hours away. And there were mountain bike trails. That was the key. And I went and got a job at REI. And then after a couple years at REI and knowing and getting to know people and getting plugged into the mountain bike world and doing mountain bike trips, getting just infinitely more stoked on it. I went to Pisgah, so it's like that just opens the gates. I went and got a job at Mulberry Gap, and I worked so Mulberry Gap is a mountain bike getaway in North Georgia.
Yeah,
and it's family run. It's just it's an awesome low key spot. You just go, you stay in these cabins. They prepare all your meals for you. You go out and ride your ass off during the day, and then you just come back and you've got they sell beer. They've got it in the general store. You got food before you. They got showers and it's a cool spot, and the riding is really rad too. So I worked there, and I did some private guiding there, not very much, but after that, I went and worked at this place called the Nantahala Outdoor Center in Bryson, North Carolina. And it was really funny because I had no shop experience, and I wanted to learn. I had this desire to learn more about how to work on bikes. So I wanted to get a bike shop job, and I applied to this place, and I got the job. And it was, to my knowledge, an established place where there was a set team, and at this shop they had a set thing, and I could go and learn from an experienced person. That was my goal, at least. But so I packed up everything I owned and moved into the car and moved up there without knowing anything. All they said was you got a job. So I showed up there, and it turns out the entire bike shop had quit and gone and opened their own store in the city. Yeah, in the nearby city.
And now you're the head tech.
Yeah. And I was like, I told you guys straight up in my resume, and I told you on the phone, I have no experience. I'm looking to learn. And they were like, yo, you're the bike shop, not only the shop manager, but they did tours and guiding with summer camps. A lot of schools would come through here. You're talking 40 kids, and you're taking them out and putting these kids on bikes and assessing them and taking them down single track and stuff. And all of a sudden I showed up, and I was the head mountain bike guy. Not even just I do everything, but then there were two high school kids who were also I had people working under me. I had to direct these guys.
We're basically coming there to do the job that you were thinking you were going to do.
Yeah, except I had nothing to teach.
Right. Wow. So
yeah, I got thrown in with the Sharks, and one of the high school kids, he's actually a buddy of mine, Dave. His name is David. He's a BMXer, so he actually already knew more than I did about working on bikes.
Right.
So it was pretty fortunate that I had him to delegate things to. But I learned a lot that summer, and I used a lot of YouTube to do it.
Yeah, there's something to be said about learning under fire like that, and I think
for sure.
There's a certain kind of person that will take that and embrace it, and there's other people that would have just packed their shit and said, you know what, that's actually not what I enrolled for. So it tells me a lot about your character that you stuck with.
Don't get me wrong, I started by asking for a raise.
Yeah.
And
that's a good idea. You did go to school.
I was like, yo, I thought this was my job, but you're telling me this is my job? But yeah, then we did it, and we made do, and we had a great time.
Did you get the raise?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on, dude. See, all you gotta do is ask, right? So apparently
the worst they're gonna say is no.
There was some kind of switch there, though, from the soccer to the finance job to all of a sudden doing this mountain biking thing. So was mountain biking always a part of your life, or after soccer you just kind of fell into it, or what?
So funny story, actually, part of the injury that hurt my soccer career. When I injured my knees and had surgery on both of them, I never got my confidence back ever. It was just I don't know what happened. I think it was a combination of the injuries and the recovery and the length of them, because the first one that I did was a meniscus injury and so cartilage on my knee, and that took I don't know. That didn't take as long. It took a whole season though. The next one was an ACL tear with meniscus, so I just jacked up my whole knee, and that was over a year recovery. And so that combined with like how incredibly I was playing Division 1 top 10 teams in the country, and
Right.
the competitiveness and the coaches, it's just like everything is so hard, and then balancing that with school, it's really difficult being an athlete in college. So all those things combined, I was never able to really get my mojo back. But the funny thing is that the second injury, the ACL injury, was mountain biking. I was that was like one of my first forays into mountain biking while I was playing soccer, and I tore my ACL.
That's crazy. So
yeah,
I'm connecting some dots, and maybe I'm not connecting them correctly. So I want to ask you this: was this history of injury and possibly stopping your career what really played into? There was a lull, there was a down point when you hurt yourself on your channel, and was that same thing? Like, oh fuck, here it is, it's happening to me again. Something that I'm loving and I'm living my dream, and it's fucking falling apart.
Yeah, no, so the mindset was way different, I think, but like I guess I'm injury prone, man. Like I think that I'm really active, so I don't think there's any getting away. I don't think there's like the very rare person like freaking Seth, he's BMX his whole life. He's only broken a bone just this year. He says he probably had broken bones and just not knowing it, I think, but I don't know. But I definitely have had my fair share of injuries, so the whole recovery process is not new, and I think that you can get better at it. So the ACL was really, really hard. It was like an insane long recovery, but I also was super determined. I mean, I came back strong in the fitness sense. I was never able to regain my I was never able to recover mentally. And that's a tough thing because I was a goalkeeper. And that's like a really big mental game. You gotta be, because you don't do anything for 87 minutes, and then you have to make like a game changing play at the very end of a soccer game. So
the whole team's rested on you at that point. My daughter plays softball, and most of her time she's been a catcher, and it's that same thing, where it's like, there's some heat on you whenever that time comes.
Yeah, for sure. But when I did my shoulder, it was, I guess it was actually, like, thinking back to it, I was like, no way this happened right now. Like, I've got this thing going. It just started rolling. I was at like 25,000 subs right when I did that. And I had just met up with Brian and Seth again in Arkansas. And then I dislocated my shoulder. And so it was hard not to get into a self-defeating just circle of shit at that point. And at one point it definitely got the best of me, as you mentioned. Like I had to take 2 weeks off from making videos at all. And it was hard to convince myself that was okay to do, because how it is. It's like, if you're not posting a video, all you're thinking is like, everyone's going to be like, where is he? Where are you? Like, you didn't post a video. What's wrong? What's going on? Like,
there's a lot of to that part of YouTube that you don't really think about in your process of starting a channel. And I think at the end of the day, I think that the creators, we do it to ourselves,
oh, for sure. But it's self-inflicted.
Yeah, it totally is. And I think that we actually do it to each other, like, as far as the other creators. Like, we all like inflict that self-infliction onto each other, and all the subscribers really don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess it's like, it sounds obvious when we talk about it out loud, because everyone's on a schedule. Everyone uploads consistently every single week. So if you are the lone duck out that doesn't upload that week, then it's going to be like, what happened? Where's this guy? Everyone else did, So there's the pressure.
Yeah, and you start eating into your own head at that point, Yeah. So, moving along here. So you're doing this bike game in a couple of different places. somehow or another, that's all on the East Coast. You show up in Colorado. How the fuck that happened?
Okay, so that's an easy one. In 2016, it's 2016 or 2015, one of those years, one of my friends here in North Carolina. So one of the best things about getting these jobs in the outdoor industry is that I met all these people in the outdoor industry. Best thing to do. You get plugged into this culture that when you live in a city and you have a 9-to-5, you're not part of. There's this whole other subculture happening of these people working seasonal jobs that do all these kind of like outside the box activities. You got people that do kayaking, people that do slacklining, people that do mountain biking, people that rock climb. So all these like peripheral activities, you get plugged into all these guys. So I got that, and I met all these people that I loved. And I was like, wow, these are my people. All these people. What have I been doing before this? So anyway, that really benefited because after like the second season of working at NOC, one of my friends who is a kayaker. His name is Ty. He lives here in Asheville and is now one of my best friends. Definitely part of my like Asheville family. He got he applied for a trip down the Grand Canyon. You have to apply for a permit to go on the Grand Canyon, and only 365 people get chosen a year. Only one group per day.
So this is the trip that you made the video of?
This is the trip. This is why it's so special to me, because it's that trip that got me to take the leap of faith to traveling west where I knew nothing and I knew nobody.
Yeah, that's funny because that video for me was a leap of faith. And I told you this in the comments. You're probably
for sure.
When I saw that video post, at that time, I was still not, I think, considered a creator, and even as myself was more of a subscriber than a creator at that point. I mean, my channel had been going on for a while, but I still like watched a lot of content. And now I'm really in a spot where it's like a struggle to like see the videos that other guys in our creator space are like, hey, did you see, Alex's video? I'm like, oh shit, let's see that real quick, and so like at that point though, I was just watching mountain bike videos and that was it. Was there anything else on YouTube? No, and that came up like, I don't want to fucking see a video about rafting, but I like this guy. I really like this guy's personality. I mean, honestly, that was like the main reason that I enjoyed watching your channel. Really has nothing to do with your biking style or anything. It's you. I'm enrolled in you. And I watched that video.
Good, because I suck.
Yeah, you and me both, dude. If you suck, I'm fucking blind. So, anyways, I watched that video, dude, and it was like, oh my God. This is fucking awesome. Like the story and the emotion you could see in you, and like how important it was and how beautiful it was. All of a sudden I was like, maybe there's other channels on YouTube. Like there's something else out there other than cat videos and mountain bike videos. So
holy shit.
You're right, mind blown. That's crazy. So that trip ended up then to you moving to Colorado?
Yeah, so I bought this one piece of equipment. So it's actually insanely serendipitous because I showed up at this festival at the NOC, and it's in October. Oh my God, I had actually never thought about it this far back. It's insane, actually, the events. Okay, I went to Georgia. I drove up from Florida because I was down visiting family. I drove back up to do a freelance tutoring gig at a private school. And it was a 2-week gig. I stayed with my buddy Josh in Atlanta. And while I was there, we were riding like every day. It was awesome. And that was where I can trace learning how to jump back to this 2 weeks. We went to a pump track and learned. And at the end of the 2 weeks is like the last ride. We went and rode at Rope Mill, this place in Atlanta. And on the way home, I was following him through some back roads in Atlanta because Atlanta has the worst laid out roads. It's ridiculous. There's no such thing as grids. They're just curving roads, and there's like 10 of them that are named the same thing. It's insane.
I've been there. I know what you're talking about. It's stupid.
It's ridiculous, dude. So anyway, I just followed him. I was on autopilot, and I got a call from a client from this like really well-to-do family whose daughter I was gonna start tutoring, and
You're tutoring her, huh?
yeah. So
I got to throw some.
I was
dude.
we were tutoring via Skype. So
oh yeah, so on the
via
internet, tutoring some rich chick. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, that makes it more kosher.
Right.
But I was like a little bit nervous of it, but so I put like a lot of focus into the conversation. And anyway, next thing I knew, I had crashed my bike, which is on the roof rack of Sheila, into an overpass or a fucking covered bridge. Actually, like who has covered bridges in their neighborhood?
Right.
I just was like, oh my God. I had to hang up on this lady. I was like in tears because I just cracked. It was a Carbon Cannondale. It was like my real legit first mountain bike. Or like first. It was a Jekyll.
Oh, the Jekyll. So after they brought it back out then?
No, dude, this was a while ago. This was like back in. I mean, this was one of the earlier ones.
Because I remember they had the Jekyll until like 2004 or something like that. And I think
it was after that.
Yeah, and that was all aluminum then. I think Carbon kind of came out after that. They re-released it again. And then that's whenever they had the Carbon one.
That was probably when it was. I got it on deal at REI.
Yeah.
So yeah, I cracked it there. And all right, I got to fast forward. So I cracked it there. And because then I had no bike. And I was like, oh my God, I have no bike. I got to get a bike. So I called the NOC up. This is where I used to work the year previously because you can pro deal if you work there. I called him up. I was just straight up with my boss. He was a good dude. I was just like, yo, I just broke my bike. I need a new bike. I can't afford a bike. Can I come help you with this? There's this like festival in October that is always like really high traffic and they always need help. I said, yo, can I come help you? Because I know that if I work there for 3 days or for whatever for the festival, then I'll be able to pro deal a bike. This is what you do when you work in the industry and you're poor as hell. You can't pay full price for anything.
Right.
If I couldn't do that, I couldn't have a bike. So anyway, luckily he said yes. That's how I got there. That's how I got my bike. That's how I got the Enduro. And while I was there, I was hanging out with my friend Ty. Someone dropped out of that Grand Canyon trip. I hung out with him the night that they dropped out. So he invited me on it. And like, that's how I ended up on that trip. And when I committed to that, I committed to driving all the way out there with all of our equipment because it's a self-supported trip. And I was like, fuck it. If I'm going out there, I'm making sure I can fit everything in Sheila and I'm staying. This is it. So that's how it happened.
That's crazy. So I saw so that's how you end up in Colorado. Somewhere along that line, you start making YouTube videos. I saw some of your original videos. I don't know if they're still on your channel or not, but you definitely weren't.
Oh yeah, I haven't taken anything down.
Yeah, so you definitely weren't Alex Singletrack Sampler when you started. So when you first went on YouTube,
what do you mean?
I mean, like they were like short. They were like like a 2-minute little clip of you just like rolling over some rock or something like that, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple of the first ones. One is from the night that I learned how to jump at this pump track. So I have a couple clips of that. And then one is from a local spot. These are all in Atlanta where I learned to mountain bike. And I remember one is like, it's actually a secret trail. So I can't say where it is, but it was like a drop. And I like manual down it. I jumped it and I crashed and hurt my shoulder. But yeah.
And I apologize if maybe you were mistaken where I was going, but I think what I was getting at was, if you're looking at those videos, I feel like when I watched them, the guy that uploaded those didn't have a goal to be a YouTuber, right? Like it was just a guy.
I never had a goal to be a YouTuber.
Right. You wanted to put some videos up, right?
Yeah.
So like, what was the?
I probably thought at the time that I was a pretty good mountain biker.
The intent was like initially, hey, actually I could maybe make a channel and like have followers, or was the intent like I just want to put my video up so I can like send a link to my buddy and he can see it?
Yeah, I didn't ever think I was gonna make a YouTube channel. The first intent was just like to share. It was like I love this shit. You know, I'm really into this mountain bike thing all of a sudden. No one that I knew. I grew up in Florida. Not a single soul that I know mountain bikes.
Right.
So, and then I started mountain biking. I was like, yo, you guys should try this. Like this is so much fun. You know.
Did you not ride like BMX or bike much when you were a kid? It was just all soccer for you when you were young?
Literally, soccer is the only thing I did. Soccer in school, my whole life up until 22.
Kind of like Seth's is like where I grew up riding BMX and that's all we did every day. We got off of school, we'd go ride BMX. And as we got older, it was like we got off of school, smoked pot, and then rode BMX. And then it was like got a little bit older, and then it was like, okay, now I'm doing this mountain bike thing with these older guys. Like my mom started dating this guy, and this is in the early 90s, and he was a mountain biker, which was odd. How the fuck did she find him? And like, so I would ride with these old dudes that were like my age now, 35, 40 years old. But then during the week, all I rode was BMX with all my buddies. So,
I never rode a BMX ever.
I wish I did. Of the guy that's just trying to share your videos, were you like, I'm kind of digging this subscribers, or like, how did that evolution happen from, hey, I'm just putting this drop up here to, you know, I'm actually wanting to not maybe do it as a business, but do it as something a little bit more than what you were doing before?
It was definitely in Salida. So I would be remiss if I didn't say just how ridiculous the coincidence is, because I'm trying to trace back the whole thought. So the whole thought process, the whole idea started way back, all the way back when I worked at Mulberry Gap, the very first mountain bike job that I had.
Right.
My job there was, well, a little ambiguous, to be honest, but I wanted to help them grow. And with that, I had this idea. I wasn't plugged in. Like I was purposely not plugged into social media. And, but I did know that I was on Pink Bike. So I knew about making videos for trails. So I was like, yo, I would lived in Atlanta all these years. I had never heard of this place. And I got up there and I was like, the riding is amazing. You know what we need to do is like, we need to make some videos of us riding these trails and put them on the internet for people to see, because then they'll come.
Right.
So it started all the way back there, and it was for this place that I worked. It was for Mulberry Gap. This was the idea. I went out and did it. I went out and made these videos myself, actually, with just a chest cam and a GoPro that wasn't even mine. And they never got published.
The rock music playing, like jamming in the back.
No, I was narrating the whole thing because I knew these trails like the back of my hand, because I was riding them every single day of the week while working there. I'd wake up at like 5 a.m. and I'd go ride this whole loop. I knew everything.
That he needs to like pat you on the back for his success. He obviously was watching your channel and was like,
yo, that was before Seth was ever making videos.
That's what
those videos never saw the light of day.
You should get
those videos never saw the light of day. I made those videos for them, so I couldn't use them. And so when I left that job, I gave them the hard drive. I gave them the videos, and those videos have never been seen. But those were my first videos I ever made, and they were narrated. That like I talked about the whole thing, like how to do it if you visited, like all the So anyway,
you get that footage, dude.
I think it was probably pretty good. I was riding a bike that wasn't mine. I had broken my Cannondale, and I was on a loaner hardtail, and I was riding as hard as I could because I knew I was filming myself.
Right.
But
there's definitely
so I mean,
the camera ups the game. That's for sure, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But anyway, so later on, that never left my mind. That idea, that thought. I just didn't know it was actually possible. And at the same time, I live on the road and I work online remotely. So I'm always thinking I'm like, this is the ideal life for me. Able to go wherever I want, able to support myself, not gonna have to, not gonna be so fucked if I break a bone that I have to stop everything, like, you know, be in a spot where like I can weather a storm. But B, have all this freedom that I want. And then I was just like, all right, how do I get there? And I'm like way over here. And so I'm always thinking about ideas like, wait, how do I connect these dots? And, you know, for the longest time it was tutoring. And then I would supplement that with bike shop gigs and stuff like that. But I was always thinking, how do I make this work better? Because it can get better. I know it can be better than this. This is working for now, but like it's always turning. So
a second ago you said, you know, how do I not break a bone and be fucked? But now you're in a business where it's really dependent upon your riding, and you had that injury with your shoulder. Did that injury actually help you get over that and realize that maybe your channel, like you can do other things if you're injured?
I was still teaching at that time, so I wasn't full-time YouTube at that time.
But I mean now. I mean, like if tomorrow, you know, knock on wood, didn't happen, but like if tomorrow you like fell down.
Almost
like,
did it today.
Right. That's a finger, dude.
Yo, but you could have seen it. If it was broken and it looked the way it did, that was like multiple surgeries.
Yeah. So, but you see what I'm saying? Like, so did that injury with your shoulder like open your eyes to like, once you kind of like went through that process, did it open your eyes to, you know what, I can do a video like this, and 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 make it through my recovery and talk about that, and actually it doesn't matter.
That experience. So there was a really pivotal video that I made where I sat down in front of the camera and I was insanely depressed. And it was when I came back from making videos, I was down and out. I was like, I don't want to sit in front of a camera. I'm just feeling so, I didn't feel like myself. I said it in the video, but I did it. I sat down in this garage and I sat down in front of the camera and I made a video where I just spoke to the camera that had no writing. I was still fucked up. And that specific video changed my perception of everything because the response to it was unreal. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to get shit on. I was just like, I don't give a fuck. I just need to do me. And if people don't like it, they can just go to a different channel. And that was what I kept telling myself, and up to the point where I hit publish. And then I put that video up there, and there was just this just amazing output. Like, it was me talking to a camera for like 8 minutes, and people started commenting and sharing stories. And they're like, bro, we got your back. Like, we're here. It doesn't matter if you're not riding. Keep making videos. Like, I want to know how this all goes for you. And it was the most uplifting, most inspiring response I've ever had from a video. And it changed my perception of everything because it went from being about the riding to being about like the whole journey.
Yeah. I remember when you posted that, and I remember like, I don't remember if I like sent you a message or something like that before that, but I remember telling you like, come on, dude, like it's cool.
I actually feel guilty to this day because there was such an outpouring of that, and I was in such a dark place that I didn't respond to anything. I responded to not a single message, not a single email or comment on that entire video. And then it's like one of those things that got too deep that I couldn't start. Yeah. So I didn't respond to a single person on that. And like, it's still like, I still feel terrible about that. Like, it's bad.
When, like, at the end of the day, like, people realize that you're a human and that, like,
yeah,
you have your own things to go through. And I'll tell you, when I saw that video, I was actually really happy for you because I kind of like felt like this is going to help him come out of it. This is going to help him realize like it's not about like going out and shredding. And if you're not shredding, you're fucking dead. You know what I mean? Yeah. It felt like that's like you and your mind from the third party, like when I was looking at it, was like you really felt like you needed to like bring it for people to be able to like keep growing your channel. And it's really like, I think once that happened, you realize that people were there for you and not for your writing.
Yeah, exactly. They were there. Everyone made that abundantly clear that It's like, yo, you're not even that great of a rider. we're just here. We're here to be on this journey with you because it's a pretty cool one, and we dig it. You know, you're doing something that not all of us are able to do or not doing currently. So keep doing it.
Right. So
yeah.
With that in mind, all of us have demons that fucking get at us. And like for me, like when it comes to riding, like I'm afraid of heights. Like I'm really afraid of heights. And honestly, I used to ride a lot like you, like really not fucking concerned about getting injured at all. And I had
what are you trying to say, huh?
a great you ride like you just said earlier when you said to me, oh, I guess I'm accident prone. I don't necessarily think you're accident prone. I think you're prone to try a little bit outside your comfort zone, and that may or may not.
Yeah, I like the ride on the edge.
Right. So like for me, like I rode like that always because I had complete confidence in myself, and I knew that like I for years and years, like Seth, I actually still haven't broken a bone. Like it would always.
You
be
haven't
like,
broken a bone?
No, I haven't. You know. So it's like always like, I mean, like some ribs, I guess that counts, but I mean, like
those are pretty
nothing that I had a cast on. So I never rode with any kind of fear of that because I always had like this bullshit friggin' idea that like I knew how to bail well, you know, and I was always riding within control. And even if I was out of control, I was still right in the cusp of control. And when I fucked up my shoulder, I had a grade 3 AC separation, and that took me off my bike for a while. And it really changed me now. Even like when I get back into my zone, I'm still thinking, don't get injured. And the one thing that happened with that was when that accident happened, it wasn't I fucked up. My bike failed. My fork, I had a lefty at the time. The top of the fork blew off, and my headset dropped from my tire and just sent me. And like instantly, like looking onto the ground like a sack of shit. And that was the very first time in my riding, for all my life I've been riding bikes, that I realized that, oh shit, it's not all about me. There's actually a possibility that like my gear can fail, and that's what can cause me. You know, so that now I have a demon from that. You know, I have the demon of
that's a very valid. I get your mentality on that because I think about my equipment too.
Yeah.
And
I never did. So like I have a demon. I'm afraid of heights. I can't get around that. That's just like God was like, "Fuck you, bitch." You know, like and it's funny because somebody else said to me, they're like, "Oh man, I'm afraid of snakes, dude. That sucks, dude. I wish I was afraid of heights." And I was like, "Look, dude, I ran into a snake like once every 5 years. I run into heights like every other ride. I wish I was afraid of snakes." You know, but so I have these demons, and I think that the thing about YouTube, to wrap this up, because I know you have your stream coming up, is like
I don't know. I haven't even decided if I'm actually going to stream still. I'm just keep going. Well, I'll keep thinking about it.
So to me, this is the thing. We have now fuck me up, man. No,
I know you had a good train of thought going.
It's all right. We have these demons that kind of like get into your head, right? And so it's like, what is it that for you now, like where you're at in your life, that you're going down the trail and that's the one that's fucking you up on your ride?
What demon messes me up on the ride?
Yeah. We all have it, you know, whether it's like,
for sure,
drop, or I'm afraid my fork's gonna fail, or I'm not in good enough shape to ride with these guys because they're pros, or is it, you know, I can't do this because it's gonna look dumb on my video. I'm gonna lose subscribers. Like there has to be something that like, because we all have our fears, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to figure out which fear to say because there's so many.
Yeah. Well, start with anyone. What's the first one that comes to your mind?
Damn. Okay, so I could definitely point. So like something that, and I don't think about it a ton, but something that definitely affects my riding is my fear is exactly what you said. It's the gear. but it's not about getting injured. It's about how do I replace this?
Yeah.
This is something I've thought about every ride for years. It's like living on the road. I was living so tight, like so tight financially that there's just no room for any repairs, like or something going wrong. Like everything needs to be just right, and if something were to break, you're just not going to be riding it or something like that. Like the bike's not. Yeah. So I would definitely think about that pretty frequently, with especially in regards to my wheels. I guess I think I always worry about just like I'm going a certain speed and just dropping into this rock hard, and I'm like, I'm not worried about me. I'm pretty confident I can keep the bike underneath me and I can ride through this. I'm just a little worried about the bike. I don't want to break anything. I can't go spend money at a bike shop, or it's like go a little slower or don't ride anymore.
The component that fears me right now, the only one that I get dicey about is I have carbon handlebars.
Oh, dude, I'm not going to ride carbon handlebars.
And I've seen now, these guys like snap their shit off a couple of times. And in my head, I don't know. There's a lot of fucking ideas in my head that I run with that I never substantiate with the internet. Imagine that. Have this big plethora of knowledge and I never check shit. And so in my head, I always thought that if carbon broke, it would like splinter, but like still be stuck together. Does that make sense?
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
I never thought that it could just like shear off. Like I thought
it become a dagger.
Yeah. You see, I think it was your video was yours where that guy got stabbed in the leg, right?
That was Brian's video. I was in it.
So I think you were there though. So that, and I've seen now a few other ones where that's happened, and I'm like, that's the one where it's like, look, dude, at the end of the day, I weigh 285 pounds, dude. I'm fucking not a little dude. And I'm still wearing another fucking probably 30 pounds of crap on my back.
On the back, yeah.
Whatever, So like, I'm pushing the fucking boundaries of what this shit was engineered for, right? So whenever I'm going through, and yeah, dude, I'm not sailing some fucking rampage jumps or anything like that. But at the end of the day, this sport that we're doing, we're fucking barreling down the hill at whatever speed. It's enough to kill a person, And
yeah, we're riding bikes down mountains.
Right. Out in the middle of fucking nowhere too. That's the other end of it. It's like sometimes we're out where it's like, dude, it's gonna take, if you had to walk a person out on your shoulders, that's gonna be 8 hours. You know what I mean? Or like, how long is it gonna take if they leave you here and they just ride their ass off? They're still 3 hours from cell signal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, man, absolutely.
That's the only one that really gets to me, and I honestly don't know. Like the main reason that I don't say I'm not riding carbon handlebars because I feel like that for me is a slippery slope. If I take those fucking bars off, then I'm letting into that, and then it will just build to something else. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, no, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna ride this, and if that shit happens to me, it happens to me. I can't let that define me. Just like when my fork failed on my Prophet, I fixed that fucking thing and I rode it harder than I did before because I had to not let that define me.
Yeah, you can't give in to the fear. I still don't think I'm gonna ride carbon bars, but I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. It's like you gotta do you gotta ride how you're gonna ride, and like if shit happens, it's gonna happen. But you can't live being afraid of that and let that dictate what you do or how you ride. Like that's unhealthy.
Yeah. So as it is now, you've been freaking squatting at Seth's house for how long? A couple months now, right?
More than a couple, dude. It's getting bad. I gotta get out of here.
So either you've been like willed into the family, or you're starting to plan the rest of your life, and they're like they're going to be empty nesters again because they're like, oh sweet, we got rid of our kid, So what? What is? And you don't have to get specific for me, But like when you're sitting down at night, looking up at the stars, drinking a beer, thinking about where this new van build is going to take you, what are the places that like make your heart sing?
Salida.
Salida?
Where it all began. Yeah.
So what is it that you want to do there? Just like recapture it again, or like tackle some stuff again, or
ride it.
So just the riding itself?
I want to go. I just really like it there. It was I mean, that's where I started the YouTube channel officially. In my mind, that was where I started actually filming consistently and posting, and that's also where I learned a lot about bikes, because that job that I got at Absolute Bikes, I learned a lot working under the guys there. So, I mean, that's one thing. Second, my buddy Nate is laid up there really bad right now. Would love to see him.
Yeah, your buddy that you did the live stream for.
Yep. He's laid up there, and he's going through his recovery. I'd like to go see him, and help light the mood, like high alpine stuff. I mean, the Monarch Crest is still one of my favorite things to ride ever. So I'd love to go just ride it and film it a bunch. And there's still a ton of stuff I haven't ridden there. And then on top of that, I mean, I love that town. It's got a special place in my heart. I like the people there a lot. I've got a lot of good friends, and it's an amazing place to be. So, and it's also surrounded by a lot of places that I want to go.
Is some of it you want to go back and see where you stand now compared to where you were when you left?
Of like my riding wise?
Yeah.
Nah. I stopped when I was there last. I had this. That was the last time I ever Strava'd, which I only think I've Strava'd 5 times. But I got so good at that Cottonwood Trail that I had to.
The last time I did Strava, man, I did it 5 times, but I was in deep.
I was. I only did it because I thought I could snipe the KOM from my buddy Nate, the guy who's laid up right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went out thinking I went out with my GoPro and gimbal and everything. I had this whole idea. I was going to have this whole series of videos called KOM Hunter or something like that, where I go and snipe KOMs from people.
So how far off?
Way harder. That night, I ended up trashing my derailleur because I was going irresponsibly fast. Like I was just trying to go fast. I wasn't riding well.
Right.
Later, I took it, but without Strava. No, I did Strava it.
If it didn't happen,
but I only took.
What happened, dude?
I took one segment, and then I was like top 3. I was 3rd in this other, and then this guy named Justin Bieber had first place on everything.
Oh no, that's funny.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it didn't happen on the internet, it didn't happen, dude. So
I hate Strava. I won't do it again.
I never had any want or need to try Strava until one of my friends actually explained it to me a little differently. Because I just thought it was a bunch of roadies like trying to freaking like beat each other's times. And honestly, like I used to be a lot faster on the DH stuff than I am now. And people used to always ask me like, why don't you race? And I would just tell people like, honestly, I don't fucking care about winning something against a bunch of people I don't know. The only people that
comparing against yourself.
Yeah, is the only people I want to beat is myself and my buddies. You know what I mean? I just want to beat my buddy that always kicks my ass up the hill. You know, so I could beat him down and I'll be like, fuck you. You know, like you're faster than me, but you ain't descending faster than me. You know, or something like that. So like for me,
where it counts.
Right, and then on the other end of it, it's like, why the fuck would I pay somebody to do this when it's free? Like, I'm a cheap ass, dude. Like,
no, dude, I feel you on that, though. I feel you on that. That's why I don't race. It's like, I'm going to pay $150 to go race this trail I always ride.
Right. And then you're going to get
just to compete against someone else and get wrecked.
Right. And then you get a t-shirt you never.
Why?
You're like,
yeah, what? Not about that.
So,
dude.
Let's see here. So Salida, anywhere else that like, I was really expecting you to tell me like you had some idea of like going to like Alaska or something, just like road tripping crazy. Like I'm gonna drive down to fucking Baja and do something, like I feel like there is an adventure buried in the back of your mind that you haven't fucking pulled out yet.
I'd really like to go down into South America for the winters.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do it alone. I would have to have like one of my best buds in the van with me, because it's just like, so I don't know anything. I'd have to brush up on my Spanish, but I'd love to drive down to South America.
I thought
or Central America.
Yeah, no, I've totally thought about that too. I have this like adventure spirit to me, and unfortunately my life hasn't really been able to provide me that opportunity. But like I totally thought about that, and it gets shady as fuck once you're getting down into Central America, especially as a white dude that maybe doesn't speak English or Spanish very well.
In a van with like $10,000 in bikes, yeah.
Exactly. So, looks like it's beer break. You need a beer?
Did it. Got it. Good.
That was pretty quick, dude.
I'm going.
I got this high speed.
I'm going with the get bent.
Got this high speed park tool over here, just right here, and then it drops the bottle cap right into the water bottle.
Aren't you fancy?
Right.
I went with this guy. What are you sipping on? Look at this art. This dude.
Oh, nice. I'm just keep grabbing the same thing. I'm a creature of habit. Even though I
love Lagunitas.
I have a bunch of beer in the fridge there, but this is what's got my taste right.
If I were you, though, I'd be reaching for the Maximus.
The Maximus.
Yeah, the Lagunitas Maximus.
That one is freaking, dude. That's gnarly, man. That's like 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So?
You know how many of these I've drank already, dude? I'd be like fucking blabbering.
So you're saying it'd be a real fun live stream,
right? So as you're thinking about going down to South America, what are the spots that kind of like turn up in your head?
Well, so I only actually have one spot. It's the Oaxaca. It's like Oaxaca, but I think it's Oaxaca or something like that. There's a really big enduro race there in the winter, or like it's actually in the shoulder season. But I don't know enough. If I really wanted to, if I got all the way down, I'd love to go back to Chile. I've been to Patagonia once in my life, and I'd love to get back there. So being there in a van would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think there's some other places like up north, in Canada that I haven't even been in Canada, but a couple times, and I've definitely not gone mountain biking in Canada. So there's so much to explore, and I have the van. Got the whole continent.
I've never been to Canada. I've seen Canada. I drove to Niagara Falls with my kids because we were in the area for something, and we saw Canada on the other side of the river, but we never set foot on it. What was I going to say?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. No, I mean, what I've seen, like the guys that are YouTubing up there in the PNW area of Canada, it's just fucking beautiful. I used to be a big skier. That was the thing. Like I waited all summer for it to be skiing season again. And,
oh my God.
And now I don't even ski because the weather out here in California is like really good. We had probably one of the best snow seasons like 2 years ago, and I didn't even go once that year. And it's because it was the same year I started my channel. So I was like every weekend I was
really?
I need to ride bike. I need to fucking make a video. Like that's all I do, and so
and the thing with California is like you can be riding your bike down in the desert, or you could be up skiing, in the mountains.
But you can do it the same. I've actually had days where I've skied in the morning and then been on my buddy's boat wakeboarding in the afternoon. It's like
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
It's definitely a trip where you're like, okay, it's snowing here, and here I'm wearing shorts, and I just did that in my car. And I'm a big history person, so like maybe that area that I drove through, like people resorted to cannibalism because they couldn't get out of there for months, and and here I am like skiing and then riding a boat the next like a couple hours later,
It's a good life, man. California, that's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, I feel like California, and I'm an East Coaster originally, so I'm not from here. So I feel like I can have a unbiased opinion, even though I live here. I feel like
Where are you from?
Pennsylvania is where I'm from originally. York, like the peppermint.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know
I
that.
grew up back east. I actually went to high school in Florida for a little bit and Georgia. And
No shit.
yeah. I went to a private school, a private Catholic school in Jacksonville, Florida for a little bit. Fucking failed my ass off at that, and then was in Camden County in Georgia, and then moved back to Pennsylvania and then ended up in California. But anyways, I forgot what I was saying. I don't know what the fuck I was going to say.
Was your dad in the army?
No. I just have a fucked up family, dude. Like that typical freaking kid of our generation that just parents didn't stay together, and I went to live with an aunt and uncle, and just kind of bounced around, you know. And I think that the challenges of my youth is really what drove me to who I am. Like, that's why I have the sense of humor that I have. That's why I'm really easy. It's easy for me to talk to people. I moved so many times. Like, I remember counting once, and it was like, by the time I was in 4th grade, I lived in like 25 houses. You know, like,
holy shit, dude.
You know, like, it was like my mom would get kicked out of every place that we lived in within 6 months because like she couldn't pay the rent, the lease would be up or whatever, and it'd be like, oh, we're moving again. You know, and so I had to really learn how to communicate, you know, like, and my brother, on the other hand, is exactly the opposite of me. He like withdrew. And for me, it was like, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it mine. You know, I'm going to be like, I like that. I love meeting new people. And I think that's part of why the YouTube channel just is so appealing to me, is because it's like a vessel for what I really enjoy. Like, I enjoy meeting all these people. I enjoy conversating with them. I enjoy learning about them. Like, I am like a fucking Facebook stalker with everybody that follows me on Instagram. You know, like, I'm on their profile. I'm like looking through their pictures. Oh, they like to fish. Oh, ooh, that's a good one. I like comment on people's shit. And like, it's just, to me, I love people. I love like understanding how they think or what drives them. And I think that's part of why I love entertaining them, you know?
Yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, I like the same thing. I like people a lot. I didn't know it for a long time, but definitely like people. Find people extremely interesting.
I had people for a long time, you know, telling me to start a YouTube channel, and I would always be like, dude, fucking cat videos on YouTube. I don't know fucking cat videos, you know? And like, it really took me to like start breaking shit around my house. And because I could watch because like I told you earlier, like I'm an auditory kind of like visual learner. I can't buy a book that like a home improvement book and learn how to do something. But I can watch somebody and be like, oh, okay, cool. That's like when I learned how to play guitar, that's the same way, you know? So it's like for me, I needed that. And whenever I started breaking shit, that's what like, oh, wow, there's other stuff out here. This is actually like a really good resource, you know?
Really good community.
Yeah. And that's the other thing.
That's the number one reason people go to YouTube, is to learn something first. And then they realize there's a whole community out there of like-minded people, and that's why they stay.
I always tell people whenever they're talking about starting because doing a channel, you have a lot of people tell you about how they're going to start a channel, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So a lot of people tell me that, and in that, you know, I'm always like, mountain biking will bring them to your channel, but they stay there for you. You know, that community. That's the only thing that makes this worth value, is that community. That's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. You know,
I agree. I mean, I think if it was only about the riding, then everyone would be on Pink Bike, but everyone's on YouTube.
Yeah. So what is one of the things? Well, actually, no. Back before I change gears again. So
do you have a list of questions right there?
Huh? I do.
You have a list of questions right there? Yeah, I knew it. I knew you had one list of questions right there in front of you.
But I only have around 5 5 minutes before you freaking got on. So I do not plan very far in advance.
Hey, but you planned a little bit.
Yeah, I am a procrastinator, and I only work well under stress. So that's why I always wait to do things. At least that's how
we recognize each other.
Yeah.
That's us fellow procrastinators and last minuters. Yes.
Yeah. So you were talking about going to Patagonia, and you were talking about being down South America, and I didn't know whether or not you had traveled out of the country. So that was one of the things I wanted to ask you is, have you been out of the country, and out of the places that you traveled, regardless of mountain biking, what was your favorite place that you've gone?
Man, I was actually really lucky. My family, we took family vacations, and I was just fortunate. You know, I got taken as a kid to some pretty amazing places. I like Banff, Canada. Blew my socks off. That place was nuts. So
That's
pretty.
Where the freaking the ride starts. The Ride to Divide.
Yeah, exactly. And so
are your parents? Do you? I don't know if you want to get in. Like, what do your parents do for a living?
My dad. So I was raised by I'm kind of like you. I was born in California. Parents split. Went with my mother all the way over to Florida. That's where I grew up. So I was actually born in California.
Oh yeah.
Funny enough. Yeah.
Where?
But
that's gonna be a Jeopardy question.
San Diego.
San Diego. Boom.
Yeah, and I've lived there for a year. Later on, I lived there for a year. Like I never went back and visited until after college, and then I lived there for a year at one point.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of traveling. So your mom, I'm assuming, remarried, and whomever she was with, you guys did a lot of traveling.
I mean, not a lot, but we so my dad was a doctor. He didn't have a ton of time, but when he did have time, once a year we'd take a trip. And so I remember Banff, Canada.
Let me tell you, that's a lot of traveling for a guy like where I grew up, or like if I left the city I lived in, that was fucking amazing. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, our family was insanely fortunate to be doing trips abroad. Like that's crazy, like for sure.
So you went to Banff,
and I went to Banff. Some of the three that I remember are Banff, Italy. Went to Rome once, and went to. Actually, I think those are the only times. I think it was just those. It wasn't every year.
So it doesn't matter. Either way, you guys traveled.
Yeah, it was those are the two that stuck in my mind. Those were the times I went out of the country as a kid, but later on I went out of the country by myself. I studied abroad in Spain.
Oh, cool.
And that was pretty cool. And I did a summer. So this was after I stopped soccer and I worked, and I saved up enough money that I could afford doing that. I was like, I only get to be a senior in college once. Freaking going to Malaga, Spain, and so I spoke decent enough Spanish, but I spoke the universal language of soccer most importantly.
Oh yeah, that was one of the main reasons that I joined the military. All my life, I wanted to go to Germany because my last name's Schumacher, so obviously that's a German last name, and I always wanted to go to Germany, and that was part of why I joined the military, was so that I could live there. And I think living abroad really gives you a perspective, regardless of if it's a first world or a third world country. It really gives you a different perspective on the planet, and you definitely have a perspective of, for me at least, really recognizing what you have here in America.
Yeah.
Or what you're missing.
The place that made the biggest impact on me was Patagonia. And that would probably ring true the most there. When I went to South America, it was with it was with Outward Bound. Have you ever heard of them? That program? Like It's like a leadership program. I think it gets labeled as like a leadership program for troubled youth.
Uh-huh.
It was when it was between my freshman and sophomore year of college. I took time off of college and I went and I did a semester of this.
Uh-huh.
And the culmination of that is that we went to South America, to Patagonia, and I went mountaineering. So I was like high alpine for a month, and we lived out there. We had learned we had learned how to take care of ourselves, how to navigate, how to cook, how to camp, how to manage the weather, and the culminate like for the month before. And then this whole month we flew down to Chile and we summited 3 volcanoes that were in a row. There's 3, like a line of them. So we had summit one, and then hike the mountaineer across the other.
So I have like 2 different things I want to ask you at the same time. Focus, Rob. Was this sense of like adventure and travel like something that you just kind of came up with on your own, or was that was your stepfather or your mother like just an adventurous person and that kind of like grew into you that way? How did you come to be the vagabond that you are?
It kind of started with that trip, and it was all my dad's idea. I don't know where it came from. It was like out of left field because he's a doctor in a city, and I was struggling in college because I had the first injury on my knee, and it was basically took me out of soccer, basically, so, and then I was struggling with my identity because all I ever knew was being a soccer player. And so, once I no longer had soccer, it's like, what do I do? I started partying quite a bit, and all of a sudden my grades were dropping, and I was there on an academic scholarship, not an athletic scholarship. And so my parents saw, you see the report card and they're like, yo, what's going on? And like, obviously you don't give a shit right now. So
Right.
why would you pay to go to college or spend time? So my dad came to me with this idea. He's like, you're obviously burnt out. You've gone hard. I went hard all through high school. I was like really, really big into getting good grades and, all the extracurriculars and stuff. And he proposed this idea to me that I had never heard of. And it was this Outward Bound thing. And I don't even know the context of how he knew about it. I just remember this conversation that I had with him out on a deck on like outside of the city that we lived in and in Florida. And I looked up the website, and then I found like the toughest. I didn't know anything about any of this shit, but there was like some people went and did sailing. Some people went and did there was it's always centric around something. I just went and picked I was like, this one looks ridiculously hard. This looks insane. It's like you're going mountaineering in Chile by the end of it. It's like, I'm going to do that one. I didn't know anything about any of this shit.
Right.
And, but yeah, and that was doing that was the launching point to everything of my outdoor love and vagabonds. I met people that thought a different way. I met people that didn't live within the societal norms that I'd grown up with. These people they treated people differently. They spoke to people that had different opinions to them respectfully. Yeah. They had we had this open line of communication with the people that we traveled with. It was like all of a sudden I realized what I know isn't the only thing.
Yeah.
And it blew my world, and I just wanted to keep learning more, and that was the mission from that on.
Yeah, I think that that is similar to what I was saying. There's a perspective that you get about leaving the country, and it definitely will shape you. And I think that that's what's really key about seeing other cultures is, learning what they're doing, what you think they're doing well, and maybe what they're not, and being able to learn from that and be able to take that home with you. And it really just changes who you are. And for me,
yeah,
as I was talking earlier about just loving to meet people, for me, experiencing another culture is just, it's just so fun to me. Like, I'm not normally like an adventurous eater. Like, I'm pretty much like, the very first thing I order at a restaurant is the same thing I'll order there for the rest of my fucking life. You know?
Oh my God, that's so terrible, dude.
But if I go to another country, I will like eat everything. Like, it's like kind of like hey dude, take that off. Like, you're here to experience this culture. And even if you say you don't like cockroaches, if that's what they're serving, fucking eat them.
Try.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's that's what I'm wanting by going there. You know?
Yeah.
And just recently,
I have this one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I have this one memory that comes to mind, and I think it fits in perfectly with what you're talking about. When we flew into Chile, we went to the city called Pucón, and every place that we went, we did a service project, right? So we're going to go use this land, and we're going to give back to the community that basically takes care of it. And so before we started off on our month of mountaineering, it was already set up that we were going to help this newly widowed lady on the countryside. And her name was Maria. And we showed up, and she basically, it was such a simple task, but it was just her. Through the winter, her husband had died, and she had a small farm, and she had this hut that she lived in. It was definitely smaller than this garage, like probably less than half of this garage. But there was a slightly bigger hut on the corner of her property, like across the way. And she wanted to move from here to there. So that was our job. We were there to help her. And we spent, like, me and the group of 10 people that were with me, we spent a day taking apart her like little barn, and because we had to reuse the wood, so like we had to take it apart properly and not just break it. And like she had like a stove. She just had, very minimal stuff, but we took it and we moved it across the yard to that. She had like a potato field that hadn't been taken care of, so we like tilled it and picked the potatoes that were good. And but that doesn't matter at all, and that didn't matter to her at all. The craziest thing, the thing that I will never forget, is that we braked in the middle of the day and we went inside for lunch. She was so stoked. She had prepared it. Dinner. She had killed one of her chickens. Big deal. Killed a chicken fresh for a meal for all of us, which is like a really big deal because you only have, she only had so many animals, so much livestock. She killed this thing and made this meal for us. And and we went in and shared dinner with her. And we sat around this table, and she made this. She made mate, which is like it's kind of like coffee. It's like it's a tea, but it gets you. They call it mateina. It's like you drink a lot of this, you get all caffeinated, like mateina. You're all stoked, yeah. But so we were supposed to continue working after eating this, but what happened was she didn't really care for us to go back out and keep working. She wanted to hang out with us and just hang out and talk. The thing that she got most out of that day was the company. And it was like, I ended up I drank like 7 kettles of mate with this. Everyone else like had fallen.
You were like,
I was just like, another and another and another. Yo, I was just like, it was like, but I knew she just wanted to keep talking, man. And she had it. I don't think she had someone to talk to for the longest time. And she like teared up when we went to leave to go back to work because she enjoyed the company so much. And it's like, it was just such a special thing. It was such an awesome moment. And I'll never forget it. I guarantee, I know that there's no way she's still alive. But yeah, I'll always remember Maria.
So that was Patagonia. So is that your place that you're like, that you yearn to go back to?
I'm definitely going to get back there.
Yeah.
I've never mountain biked there, but that place is like the epitome of wilderness and untouched beauty. It's I can't even describe the things that I saw there, the sunsets and sunrises, and like it's just ridiculous.
I love Jamaica a lot, and it's not an epic place in terms of like what you're talking about there, like what Patagonia has to offer in terms of outdoor stuff. But the thing that I love about that place is that the majority of the people have next to nothing. I mean, it's generally speaking, it's third world, you know? And but those people are fucking happy, you know?
Yeah.
And that,
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
That is infectious, man. When you see somebody with nothing that is so stoked on life, you're like, I am doing this wrong. It makes me want to sell my house and have a fucking tent and just live on the side of the road there. Like, I fucking love it. And that's what I love about that country so much. And when I found out they have riding there too, I was just like, oh, dude, I so have to ride there. I love
That's
that.
what it's about. You don't need much. None of us need much.
No.
But we definitely need each other.
Right. I'll tell you, that's the one thing that I don't do well is be by myself. You know, I just like, that's one of the reasons that I love having my channel. Like when my lady's out of town, like normally that's the reason I get online and live stream. It's because I cannot stand being by myself. It's like, it's torture to me. Like if I was freaking Tom Hanks on Castaway, oh dude, you would have seen fucking batshit crazy.
I've been there. Yo, loneliness ain't no joke, man. It gets real. It's terrible.
That does play into one of the questions on the board over here.
Oh, so, yeah? What you got scribbled on over there?
What's the plan for the missus? Because one of your buddies...
Yo, everyone wants to know this.
One of your buddies...
I just did an AMA on Patreon yesterday, and that's like the top question.
One of your buddies was like, did you test this out? And you were like, yeah, I did. By myself.
What did I got no lady right now.
Like, what was the like? What is the like the squish rating on this or something like that? I can't remember how he said it, but it was fucking hilarious.
It's a 6-inch memory foam mattress. What are you gonna do? You know, it's pretty comfy. It's not 10-inch, but it's pretty good.
Hey man, we're not fishing. It's 2 inches.
Yo, if it was 1 inch thicker, it wouldn't have worked. I almost got an 8-inch because I was getting greedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a plan for the missus. I'm so into what I'm doing right now. It's like I'm just conscious that I have no mental capacity to be a boyfriend. I would be the worst. It'd be impossible. I would just get broken up with for sure.
Yeah.
So there's no point.
For you, like, would it be like in your mind, are you thinking like, oh, maybe down the road I settle into a city somewhere? Or would like the dream be like, hey, she's down to get in the van with me and we're gonna go to fucking Patagonia?
Yeah.
So you want
I'm like, so like when I think okay, so yeah, I know what you're getting at. When I think of a compatible companion, I'm one of those guys that's like, I'm not traditional, you know, thinking gonna have a housewife. She's gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna be separate. Nah, I want like a best friend. I want a girl that can go ride. I want a girl that's like down to go travel and live in the van. Exactly. Yeah. I don't see how you do it any other way, to be honest. I just don't get it. I don't see how you could have that much juxtaposition and then both just meet in the middle and be like, I just did this whole separate set of things and I lived this life and I love each one of these things, but like come together. I don't know. I don't see that happening.
I completely understand where you're coming from. For me as well, is like, I want the best friend, you know, like how you decide to spend the most time of your life with somebody and not have them be the person that you like the most. So like, yes, like me and my lady, we have things that we do separately and very well, actually, you know, like definitely like have our own separate lives. However, the time that we spend together is really enjoying things that we enjoy together. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I couldn't imagine. I have been in a relationship before that is like separated, like what you said. And that was, you know, whenever I was let's say on the search for who I'm with now, that was one of the things that was was key to me was like, I need somebody that has these same core values of wanting to travel or wanting to speak together responsively, like you said earlier about like when you were like traveling abroad, like being able to have an intelligent conversation with somebody who completely disagrees with you, but be able to finish it and still love each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's important.
Yeah, for sure. I just think about it pragmatically. I'm like, okay, how do you want to spend, like, forget about everyone else, be super selfish right now and think about how do you want to spend your time in your life? It's like, I want at least a third of my time to be mountain biking,
Right.
you know? So like, all right, you get a third mountain biking. There's already a third of it is sleep. And then, you know, and then you fill the middle with travel, food, drinking, whatever, like all this shit. But like, okay, so if you're doing all these things and you're allocating such big, if you're so passionate about something like mountain biking and YouTubing, what you do in your business and living in a van and traveling, where the fuck does someone come in that has a completely different taste for things? Where do you have time for like, that's like a completely blacked out spot. You can't fill that with it. If you guys have that much different, you know, and then you're just meeting in the middle over the fact that you like each other.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. It's like, that's its own separate, I don't see that happening. It's like, you got to have an overlapping part of the Venn diagram. You know what I'm saying? I
always joke around whenever you're younger, like when you're 19 or 20, you're like, how do you pick your favorite? Like, how do you pick your whip? Like, do they look good? Do you have good sex? Do you guys like the same music? Like, that's it. Like, there's, you know,
that's what's up.
You're like, wait a minute, like, where do they stand on this? Or like, you really start to recognize, like,
are you cool with living in a van? Yes.
Right. How many months of a year could you?
Dude.
I mean, Katie and I had that conversation recently because I could sell everything that we have and leave and be okay with it. Like, I don't have a lot of draw to.
Not too attached to what you got, like your house, your
like it's all about your basement. Like, I only get to live my experiences. None of this shit I get to keep. Like, so that's really important to me. She as well as
we're not pharaohs.
Yeah, she's a very experience-driven person as well. So, but she does want to have like a home base. So where I was talking to her, I was like, hey, if we bought a van and we decided to travel, like, how would that work out? You know? And she's like, I can do a couple months, but I need to have somewhere to come back to. You know? And to me, I'm like, dude, so that sounds good to me. You know, like, that's a compromise, but I'm down. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So
you should pitch to her, be like, yo, we'll stay on the road and moving for a couple months. And then, so if you have like a pretty good rig and you just stay somewhere, then it becomes the home base. That's what I did in Salida. I had been on the move for so long. I was like, all right, I'm actually feeling like I want to stay somewhere. I want to get to meet some people and get to know them. And I need to make money too. So that was how I ended up in Salida. And then it feels like home base when you stay somewhere. So like if you got like a good rig, dude, and you just travel, and then you found a spot you really like, stay. Then all of a sudden you're at home base.
You're preaching to the choir. Have you ever tried to pitch that to a girl that's like, no, that's what I got?
Not my expertise. I can't do that.
She's like, did you hear the part where I said I want a home base? That means this I need. So
home base equals house.
Like, you want me to do that? I will do that, but not without this. So I was like, okay.
Yo, you know what I would say? I would look at her. I'd be like, have you ever seen a fifth wheel?
A what?
A fifth wheel.
Oh yeah. No, she definitely understands what I'm talking about. But I think as well, I do agree with her just because of moving so much in my life. Like I understand that, you know. And I also
you cannot deny the need or the desire to have a home base.
Yeah.
Even I crave some place to go back to.
Like fiscally, like having something that, you know, hey, this is an investment that once I get to X age that, you know, I'm not going to be rolling around the country in a fucking, in a Sprinter anymore. Like, I need to have this. So like, I definitely look at things I definitely look at things a lot more in depth than people would assume from my jovial spirit of my channel. You know,
Yo, you know what you should do, dude. You know what you should do is you work in
IT.
you work in IT. Can you work remotely? Like, where's your job? Let you do it?
Yeah, I could.
Yo, dude, you know what you should do? You should Airbnb your house for 6 months and then just live in it for 6 months and get some vehicle. So you'll easily cover your mortgage. You're in freaking California. The rental market's insane.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'll tell you honestly, like, I've always chased my dreams, and I'm on that part of my life where I don't want IT to be my dream anymore. So when I was younger, like I said, when I went to school for like studio recording, I fucking went in. Like I loved music and the music business, and that's why I was going to school for that. Later, it was IT, and that's kind of how I got into that. And I freaking just poured my heart and my soul into it, you know. And now I'm really enjoying what I'm doing here with YouTube, and I'm seeing. I'm a very calculated person. I'm not necessarily saying that YouTube is the venue for me to be in this next stage of my life, but there's something to do with this, whether it's the events that I'm planning or just something in this community that's going to come out of it. That's really what I want to do, you know?
Yeah, dude.
I think that that's important. I mean, and you said earlier, I think that we're similar in that way. Like, I think that if you want to be happy in your life, do what makes you happy within reason. I mean, if heroin is the thing that makes you happy, maybe you should think about that. You know what I mean? but you know, like if riding, like, to me, like I used to say, if riding bikes was what made me the most happy, then I would do that, you know? And at the time when I was saying that, IT was what made me most happy. Like, I can tell you, I would stay up at like 3:00 in the morning, putting together some fucking email server, talking online with some other guys in another country, stress testing that server. And that was just as fun to me as playing a video game. Like, that's because when I get into something, I'm like fucking all in, you know? And so for me, like, that's where I'm coming with this YouTube thing and with mountain biking. Like, it was one of those things where it's like, all my life I've loved riding bikes. I didn't actually ever really think about, oh, that would be fun until now, you know? And it's like, whether I'm doing interviews or I'm doing events or I'm just freaking like riding bikes and shittily and drinking beer and making people laugh, I'm fucking cool with that. You know, it's just like right now, I think you've gone through this with YouTube. It's getting noticed, you know?
Did you ever go through a point where you were like, oh man, that might be dangerous?
What do you mean? Can you elaborate on that?
Because you loved mountain biking so much. Did you ever think that might be dangerous to make that what you also support yourself with?
No, because...
Or did you solely think that would be fucking awesome?
Like, to me, it's like always very calculated. Like, how can I pay my bills? How can I do this? How can I still, like, you know, have benefits? How can I, you know what I mean? So like, but outside of that, it's always...
Yeah, you're shit out of luck with that benefits thing in YouTube, man.
I'm actually okay because I'm a disabled veteran, so I have benefits from the military. So like, those are things that I've obviously thought about. So like, but like for me, like it's always like, I won't make that leap until I know that it's realistic in all the terms, whether it's realistic in my relationship with my lady, realistic in relationship with my children, realistic in relationship to being able to be old someday, realistic in relationship in regards of like actually being able to fucking put food in my mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, I have to go through all of that, like stress testing it and benchmarking it until I get to that spot. But ultimately, what's driving me is I don't give a fuck. I just want to do this, and I'm gonna like make it happen. regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man, for sure. So I always try to operate, or I have always operated and always kind of like talked to my little brothers through my, just from my experience, that it's always best to just get that ideal idea. It's like what would be the best? Imagine it, get a pretty lucid picture of it, and all aspects of it, and then you're currently over here, and then just figure out a way to bridge that, like start from the end and work your way backwards, because sometimes it's impossible to work for the other way around. Like you just can't, you don't have the creativity or knowledge to know that it's possible to bridge that.
I think if you're passionate about anything in your life, you will be successful if you are also like realistic with yourself. Like, so you can't be passionate about cresting
Heroin,
Kilimanjaro if you're not a fucking climber. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're passionate about something and you're realistic with yourself of what your skill set is, like you will always be successful, because passionate people, that passion is what the same thing is that drives our channels. That passion is what people latch onto. And even if the idea is not the greatest at the beginning, it'll play out. Like those like details, they work out. There will be fuck ups, but it's okay. That passion people latch onto. And at the end of the day, like you said earlier tonight, you cannot, like, the one thing you can't do as a person is be alone. Like that's part of who we are as like in our humanity. So I think that's key in also being successful in life. People see that.
Yeah.
They want to be part of it,
I want for sure. Everyone seeks community for, like, absolutely. I mean, that's why I think that's a big deal of what drives YouTube is people are seeking community. We're always looking for people like us, people to fit in. Like ever since we were in kindergarten, we were doing the same thing. You know, it's like, who are you friends with? What clique are you in high school? It's this has been going on forever. What tribe are you in? It's been going on forever. So this is just the evolved that we all want to be part of something.
So we're rounding up on 2 hours, and the tribe that I want to be in is this one. And I freaking love the people that I'm with. I love the circumstance that I'm in. I would love to be making a lot more money on it. Come on, YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. You've
been ignoring whatever super chats you've been getting during the stream. So
right. So like, I'm probably a YouTube millionaire right now, or I made $27.22. But either way, like, I love what we have here. I love the fact that I'm standing out here in my garage, sweating my balls off, talking to some dude that I would have never fucking crossed paths with if it wasn't for the internet and YouTube. I appreciate you taking your time to be here with me. And I'll definitely say that aside from getting out and being one, it only takes a bike to be a biker. You have to live free. Ride hard.
To ride hard. Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, man. Like, seriously. In case anyone doesn't know, Robert and I have actually never even spoken until right now tonight over some beers on the YouTube. So like that in my opinion is like the coolest thing. That's so rad.
So hey man, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So I like it once again. Thanks for being here, dude. Seriously, I'm sure everybody,
my pleasure, man. It's super fun.
Everybody enjoyed it. This is the idea. This is the premise of the Biker Bar. Just get on here, have a fucking conversation, talk about shit. It doesn't have to be all about bikes, but just have a conversation, and that's entertaining, because to me that's what we're here for. We're here for this community, and we're here to like learn a little bit more about people. I think it's interesting,
and realize how much similar we all are.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. So you want to sign out? You got it. I haven't perfected my Biker Bar sign out yet. So you want to sign out for us?
Shit, I don't know. How do we sign out of this thing?
Well, I know it only
takes a bike to be a biker.
We'll get out and be one. But I mean, what is it that the Singletrack Sampler says? I can't quite remember. I did do Jeopardy.
Over here, over there on that channel, we're all about living free, riding hard, and getting stoked.
Right on, bro.
And you know what? Hey, one last cheers. Thank you for having me, man. It was really great to chat with you and get to know you a little bit here.
Definitely,
we'll do it again sometime for sure. And thanks for everyone else that joined. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Hey, thanks for hanging out in the chat, everybody. Until next time, next week, hopefully, if I can fucking pull this shit together again, it'll be amazing. 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want any other time zone, figure it out yourself. Google's out there. I'm not a fucking mathematician. See you bitches later. I'll talk to you then. Later.